And we are going to make America great again. My time on earth to make America great again, for all Americans to put America first. MAGA, I think it's the greatest expression in the history of politics. Make America great again.
Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President,
because the crime is ridiculous. I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations, and you're not going to want to see what it looks like.
What started with President Trump's delusion to make America great again has left Trump's America isolated again. President Trump has been using tariffs as a weapon to negotiate trade deals with countries. However, this time Trump has gone too far. He has announced a 10% tariff on 8 European countries for opposing U.S. control of Greenland. The countries consist of Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland. By announcing 10% tariffs on these European countries, Trump is facing hostility from Europe. These Europeans are also part of NATO. Trump's stubbornness in making Greenland part of the United States has left U.S.-Europe relations in trouble.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not. Because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Look at the situation where we are. I mean, a shift towards autocracy against democracy, more violence, more than 60 wars in 2024, an absolute record, even if I understood a few of them were fixed. And conflict has become normalized, hybrid, expanding into new domains, space, digital, information, cyber, trade, and so on. It's as well a shift towards a world without rules, where international law is trampled underfoot, and where the only law that seems to matter is that of the strongest, and imperial ambitions are resurfacing.
Honestly, we haven't really discussed that part, other than we're really happy that action is being taken to make sure that these discussions isn't just ended with that meeting alone. And it's really important for us that the Greenlandic government has a say on who's in that working group as well, to make sure that the Greenlandic populations and their well-being is thought for.
President Trump is acting like an international gangster. Threatening to trample over the sovereignty of an ally, threatening the end of NATO altogether, and now threatening to hit our country and 7 European allies with outrageous, damaging tariffs unless he gets his hands on Greenland.
China and Canada have announced a new trade deal, which Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said would open markets for Canadian businesses and workers. U.S.-Canada relations have been in trouble since Trump imposed tariffs on Canada. Canada has decided to make a deal with China instead of the United States, making China's global footprint even bigger.
China used to be the largest market for Canadian canola seed. We want to not just return to those levels, but to surpass them. And so I'm pleased today to announce that Canada and China have reached a preliminary but landmark trade agreement to remove trade barriers and reduce tariffs. By March the 1st, Canada expects that China will lower tariffs on Canadian canola seed to a combined rate of approximately 15%.
Despite U.S.-India strategic relations, Trump made a mistake by imposing tariffs on India, and now the United States is paying the price. India has signed trade deals with Australia and the United Kingdom and is going to sign a major trade deal with the European Union as well, leaving Indian exporters with larger market access.
And right after Davos, the next weekend, I will travel to India. There's still work to do, but we are on the cusp of a historic trade agreement. Indeed, some call it the mother of all deals. One that would create a market of 2 billion people, accounting for almost a quarter of global GDP. And crucially, that would provide a first-mover advantage for Europe, with one of the world's fastest growing and most dynamic continents. Europe wants to do business with the growth centers of today and the economic powerhouses of this century, from Latin America to the Indo-Pacific and far beyond. Europe will always choose the world, and the world is ready to choose Europe.
However, the question that remains is, will Donald Trump realize that the tariffs are leaving America isolated again?